Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at building this LoFi effect rack. Get things crunchy, distort things. It's also got an interesting delay built into it we can look at. First of all, I'll give you a few examples of what's possible. Got some vocal samples, some drum loop, and a synth at the end that you can get an idea of what's possible with this rack. And then we'll look at how it works. And finally we'll look at how to put the track together in Ableton Live.
Standing in the rain, water on my window pane. I was doing silly things just to make you look at me. Couldn't win the game, but I might try again. If I learn my lesson, bet it's a possibility. I don't know if I'll see you again, or this is the end, I don't know. Standing in the rain, further down in my brain. I was doing silly things just to make you look mad. In between red and blue, gotta tell the truth, there's nothing to lose, well. Already gone, it's late, so express it, I'll be home, I'll leave you to it now. In between red and blue, yeah, tell the truth, there's nothing to lose, well. Already gone, it's late, so express it, I'll be home, you taught me to let go. Standing in the rain, water on my window pane, I was doing silly things just to make you look at me. Couldn't win again, but I might try again, if I learn my lesson, babe, it's a possibility. I don't know if I'll see you again, or is this the end, I don't know. Standing in the rain, further down in my brain, I was doing silly things just to make you mad. In between red and blue, yeah, tell the truth that...
Let's have a look at the rack then and see what's going on. We have an effect rack here, and if I open it up, there's a series of effects inside here which build this effect for us. We have a redux to reduce the bit rate and the sample rate. There's a saturator here which I've set up to try and emulate a little bit tape saturation in the higher frequencies of tape here. We'll have a look at that in a second. There's a vinyl distortion which effectively introduces distortion and also even and uneven harmonics at various parts in the frequency range. I have a filter here to cut off the low frequency, and a second filter here which is controlled via the rack, which controls low pass and allows us to do two things. One, to obviously filter the signal, and secondly to set it at, I think, let's have a look what I have the setting for the filter, 16 kilohertz. Yeah, so we cut off a lot of the higher frequencies to give it a bit more of a lo-fi feel. We'll go into this in the build. And finally we have the filter delay, which is a 3-channel delay system, which allows you to control, I say, 3 delays at once. We can filter these delays, and we can pan them, filter them, provide feedback for each of them. That's also controlled here from the macros here. So we'll get into that a little bit. Let's have a look again what we have then here when we turn it on. Let's get a little bit of sound going.
And if I learn my lesson, babe, it's a possibility. And I don't know if I'll see you again, or
we have a vocal sample here. If I turn the rack on now.
Standing in the rain, feather down in my brain, I was doing silly things just to make you mad.
Here we go. We have
Between red and blue, yeah,
the delay control.
there's nothing to lose. Where
we have
gone and it's late, so it's best that I be home. You taught me to
color amount here, which if we look here controls the amount of saturation at this point in the frequency range, which I've set to 15.7 kilohertz. So we can introduce, has a bit of a spread here. It's not exactly at 15.7, there is a range here. And I've done that to try and emulate saturation in tape, which tends to be at the in the higher frequencies. It doesn't affect the lower frequencies so quickly, but goes more into the higher ones. So that's this control here. We can introduce the saturation there. Here's drive, which we're doing with the analog clip model here. Introduce drive into it. Then we have something called crunch level. Let's close the we can look at the redux. That's basically just the sample rate, bit depth. And with this smudge control, we're controlling jitter and shape, which affect the way the redux works. So we have control over those here as well. Okay, let's close that up. Saturator we've looked at. The vinyl distortion I control with this, which I'm calling crunch level, which introduces a level of distortion. And the crunch position, I've offset these two. I think the upper one introduces distortion and even harmonics, and this one distortion and uneven harmonics. And so we can just move these through the frequency range. And with the level we can adjust the tone at different positions. Adds a bit of Mickey Mouse as well there. Okay, and then of course we have finally here the filters. This first filter is fixed. As I say, nothing going on here. It's a high pass filter, but I've set the frequency to 30 Hertz. And then just cut off a little bit of the low end. Then we have the second filter. We can close that one up. The second filter here, this one is limited to 16 kilohertz in the upper range resonance, but just to take the top off of the frequencies, just a standard low pass filter with the reduced range. And then of course we have this interesting filter delay, which if I turn on again, we have a left and a right delay and a center delay. We can see the pannings here. I can control the panning, so I can bring them all to the center. spread them apart. I can also control the volume of the left and right. And also we can control these filters, which filter out part of the delay signal at different frequencies. And I've linked the left and the right here to this control, so they again, like the vinyl distortion, oppose each other, and the center one moves freely on its own. And we have feedback, which I've limited as well, so it doesn't get too... Okay, so it's quite an interesting delay just to play around with. The only thing I couldn't set, because I ran out of macros, is the delay time. You would have to then come in here and set up your delay time how you want it, but the rest you can control from the panel here. Okay, is there anything else to say? That's pretty much it. As these are all linked to this, mapped out, we can randomize as well. I've set some of these. If I right click on here, some are excluded from randomization, such as the volume. I believe there's a couple more feedback I've included. We'll get into this a little bit in the build. Just having a look to see what else this one here is the delay on and off. So if you go above 64, the delay activates. Below 64, I think that's also excluded. Yeah, so I've excluded a couple of these from the randomization, but if I press this, I can randomize all these settings. And once the rack's built, just save it here, press this button, and you can find it in your user library under presets, effects, racks. Let's try another one. You can get an idea. All kinds of crazy things can happen. You could, if you wanted to, save these here as a variation. If I like this sound, if I like this sound, I can save this as a variation. Try a new one. Okay, I think you get the idea. What's possible. Let's just have a look how it's put together then. Okay, there's quite a few settings in this one, so be a little bit careful when you build it. First of all, you're going to need an audio effect rack. I've kept, as always, my original rack. It has the names for me. It's easier to remember where things go. So audio effects rack, drop that in. You'll then be presented something like this without the names, and you can expand it here with these buttons. Okay, so the first thing we want to do then is to click down at the bottom here, the very bottom, and open the chain, and we're going to map our volume here, chain volume. We will map to our volume control. That way we can then control the volume of the chain, even though we only have one chain here, one chain. It allows us to control what the output of what's going on. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to do. We'll come out of that now then. Close this, we don't need that anymore. Now we need to drop the effects in that we're going to use. We will need, let's go here, audio effects, the redux will drop in inside the rack, a saturator here. Just make sure we get it on the inside of the rack here. The vinyl distortion, that here. We'll need 2 auto filters. 1 and 2. And finally the filter delay, which is here. Let's get that in. Okay, so we've got those all in. We can set up the first auto filter here. I set this one to a low pass, and I set the frequency it goes down to 26. I set it at 30. It's not much, but my idea was that perhaps I wanted this to be 60 or 70, and I could change that manually. If I really wanted to cut the bottom end off, I can do that manually here. It's just to have the flexibility. So that one we can ignore now. That's done. The second one we will map and limit here in a second, but that remains as a low pass filter. The vinyl distortion will come to. Maybe we'll start here with the redux, and that's easy to map. We just map here the sample rate, the bit rate, and then this control called smudge here, we map the jitter and the shape. So the redux is done. We can close that. The saturator, now we need to click this little down arrow here that opens up the saturator for us. There's some settings we need to make here. For the saturator, we want to reduce this value, the amount high, to -100 to its lowest value. And I had this, the frequency set at 15.7. Oh, that doesn't like it. We'll have to do it manually then. 15.7. I had that about 15.7. Somewhere around that should be fine. And the width I had set at 50%. And then we need to map. Any more settings here? The curve I had set to 0. And the rest I think is fine. Okay, so we can map these things here, the controls here. So we have here, for the saturator, we have the drive, map here, and the output I also map to the drive. And we'll come to the settings in a second, but what I've done is with the output, I've set this to 0, and I believe this was -6, but we'll come to the settings in a second. So that what happens here is with the drive, as you increase the drive, you're also reducing the output, just to try and keep it a little bit balanced so we don't overload our volume. But we'll come to all these settings, and at the end I'll leave some screenshots for these settings. There's quite a few, so that you can pause the video and look at them yourself. What else do we have here? We then have the crunch position. So we have the color amount high here. This one here we need to map to this value here, the color amount. What goes in there. Drive we've set up, and I believe that's all I had, because the position is fixed. So I was just literally increasing the amount of saturation at the frequency. I think that one's done now. We can leave that. Okay, then we have the vinyl distortion, where we can set this value B. I had this at 2 on both. That's the width. And we will map these ones here to crunch position, crunch level, I mean. This one goes here, so we map this here, this value here, to the crunch level, and this value here as well to the crunch level. So we can now control this, and the crunch position is the frequency, this one here, and the frequency here. And we will change these values so that they, presently they move together. We want them to oppose each other. We'll set those in a second. I think we've got everything there, so we can close that one as well. This auto filter is quite simple. We just map the filter frequency and the filter resonance here. Then finally we have the filter delay, which we can map here. I did a couple of settings here. I set the volume actually of both. Well, we'll be mapping the volume, but I did set them both to 6 decibels. initially. I don't know if that makes a difference when we map, probably not. So let's map them. We'll map that one here to the delay left right volume, and this one here also to the delay left right volume. There we go. It's set them both to 4 decibels, so that's okay. So they're mapped. We have the pan here and here. Now we'll do also a setting there. At the moment they're moving together, which doesn't help, but we'll also oppose those so they will move in different directions. We'll do that in the settings. We have the delay feedback here. So let's set all the feedback to this one. All 3 go to the same macro. And then we have these filter positions here. So we go the left and the right go on the same macro. And the center goes on its own. And again, these now move together, but we'll get them to oppose each other in the settings. I'm just looking, I think that could be, oh yeah, the vinyl distortion, sorry. I had that set to hard here, so we'll come out of here. This is actually set to hard, there's one setting I missed. Just checking my list to make sure. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I think we can go to the settings now. That's all set up effectively, and we just need to fine-tune some of these settings, or just go through them. The smudge is okay, that's okay. The sample rate I set at the maximum of 32,000, so 32 kilohertz. The filter resonance I've also reduced to 100, and the filter frequency to a maximum of 16,000. And I also set the lower value to 100 Hertz. This one here, the drive, I've reduced from, this is where we get the offset here with the drive and the output. So I've set that to 0. And this one here we will set now to 20 decibels as a maximum. This is 0 to -14. That was actually minus, it was a larger value, -14. So now when we look at the drive here, when I move the drive, you'll see, if you can, as the drive goes up, the output goes down. So they're now opposing each other. Okay, so that's done. And then we have the delay left right volume, 0.6 decibels, that's fine. And this one was 0 to 6. I've limited this side here, the delay, let's have a look at that. Delay filter 3, which I believe is this one here at the bottom, I've limited that to 4 decibels, so that we always get a little louder volume on one side of the stereo field. Okay, so then the delay feedback I've limited as well to 35% for this one, and for the second one I've limited it to 50 and this to 40. So 35 here, 50 in the center, and 40 here, maximum delay feedback possible, so we get a little variation in the delay feedback as well. Then we have the delay left right filter, which I've left as it is, but this one here I've inverted. So this one, we want to switch this around, so this one becomes 18,000, and this one we can push all the way up to 50, or sorry, down to 50 Hertz. So 50 Hertz here, 18. So these now, 50, 18, 18, 50. When I move the filter here now, you'll see that one goes in one direction and one goes in the other one. They oppose each other. Okay, that's fine. Then the delay pan, let's look at that quickly. Okay, I set this to center. 0 effectively, and this one also to center, and this one at the bottom here is 50 right, but the top one here is set to 50 left. So now if we go to the pan as well, you will see that one goes left and one goes right, just here, left and right. One goes left, one goes right. Okay, so that's set up. Then we have here the delay C filter. That stays as it is. We have the crunch position. Oh, one I've missed actually. I need to set this one here. Apologies, let's go back here. We need to map the delay on off. So we've not done that. So if we go here to this one here, yeah, map here, this one here, and this one here, those three are mapped there. So if we now move this, turns it on, off, okay, that's working. Then we have crunch position, which I've set here, I've limited this to 16,000 to 50 Hertz. This is where we're now fixing these to be opposed to each other. That's right, and this one will also, so 16,050 and 50, and this one will be 16,000. Okay, so these now, if I look at these two here, the crunch position, they will now oppose each other, so they're set up. The crunch level, that stays the same. Right, that one stays the same as well. Okay, so what do we have? The saturated color amount high is minus 100, 100, that stays the same. The bit depth, that stays the same, and the chain volume up to 6 decibels. That's it, we're all set up. So if we activate this now, hopefully everything should work fine. We'll turn the delay off to begin with. And
Rain water on my window pane. I was doing silly things just to make you look at me. Couldn't win the game, but I might try again. You fell in my lesson, baby. So thank you for me. I don't know if I'll see you.
let's turn the crunch level up.
This is the end, I don't know.
There we go. See if the delay works. Delay, pan, the volume, both left and right. Okay, so everything appears to be working fine. We can randomize. Oh, one thing we need to do, of course, we need to exclude this one here. Right click, exclude macro from randomization for the volume, and the delay, you'll have to do this on yours. Exclude the delay from randomization so that these two don't randomize when we press the randomize button. Okay, there you go. Increase the sample rate. Seems to be working fine. Have some fun. As always, enjoy the rest of your day. And see you in the next video, hopefully. Take care. Thank you.
In between your right and boot, yeah, tell the truth, there's nothing to lose, swear. I already got any sets, but said I'd be home, I'll leave you to it now. Standing in the rain, fell down in my brain, I was doing silly things just to make you look at me.